Hello, I am Anna Dalman, and it is day 219 of my note writing adventure. And my note for today is referring to Christmas and Christmas decorating and Christmas ornamentation, etc. So my little note is, do you see what I see? When I walk into a room that's decorated, do you see what I see? Or if it's my tree and I've decorated, do you see what I see? What is the story of your tree? What does the giving of gifts symbolize for you and to you? The ornaments you select, what do they mean? Do you have a little history about them, that every year you put them up and it is almost a milestone every year of what the year has been for you? So every Christmas you put something on the tree that is a statement about you, your faith, your home, your family. Nutcrackers, do you decorate with them? What do nutcrackers mean for you and to you? Do you have a little train set running around your living room or just around the tree? Why? What does that mean to you? Now, yesterday I did say that Christmas is not a biblical holiday. Now, if you haven't heard that before, hold your horses. I know that sounds kind of controversial, and I don't intend it to be that way. God in the Bible does tell us which days we are to commemorate, and Christmas is not one of those. However, historically, the church has taken that day and built a tradition around it, which is a good thing. So you are free to choose what you commemorate and what you don't about Christmas. Now, as you can see, I have a little bit of green there, and I have a little bit of green there. Those are my Christmas trees for this year, and that is sufficient for me. It may not be for you, and that you are free to decorate to your heart's content. Now, you may think that's a little bit of a contradiction if I'm saying that, because after all, I just have two little paper trees. Friends, I have decorated for Christmas in my history far beyond what most people ever would in their lifetime and in their family's lifetime. Now, how did that happen? I worked for a family who lived in the Hollywood Hills, Southern California. They had a 5-acre residential compound, 9 buildings on it. They were very, very much a socially active family, top of the social structure in Southern California and beyond. And they would decorate extensively, or have their home decorated extensively every year, inside, and if they were having many social events, the grounds as well. Often a tent would be put on the tennis court, and that would be decorated as well. The last 5 to 8 years I worked for them, I was involved in it every year. Prior to that, I just had too many responsibilities, especially with their children, to have been involved in that capacity. So a friend of mine used to come in and help. He had worked, we became friends through working. He used to do a lot of entertainment for them, and he would come in and help. And we both decided we would put Christ in the activities we were doing, as in decorating the house. So everything, I had the freedom to use my employer's credit card to purchase whatever I thought would be looking good in their home for whatever was needed. So I would start a new collection or add to their collection over time on building what it should be. And with that, it was a gift to me because it added an extra element to my working situation that became precious to me. So when I say I did Christmas in a major way, I did. This is what God has allowed for my life at this season. Next year it may be different. I might decide to have more lights up. Where I'm at now, in my neck of the woods, it's summer. It is so humid out. We are having unseasonal rain. That was a tongue twister there. And we're having lots of thunderstorms. We actually even have flood warnings for January, February, and March in our neighborhood, and this is the desert. So where I am, just adding extra lights and everything is just too bothersome and would make a room too hot. And so it's just not practical. And my little part of where I'm living, it's more equivalent to what you would call a tiny house if you are in the US, or if that's what your understanding is. So I don't want to decorate more. That's sufficient for me, and I like looking at them, and I'm having fun with them. Another thing that I've added to, not my Christmas decor, It's been in my room for a while and you may not have noticed it. This is two little wheat stalks that I put in a glass jar, and I have there. Now, part of the Christmas decorating that I did for the family I worked for in the Hollywood Hills, the person who helped me, we worked together to redo their Christmas. We used to set up a nativity scene on the corner, on the back part of the Steinway piano, and part of the decor would be putting bits of wheat there, because Jesus was born, the bread of life, seed falling on the stones, and we would have stones. It was very elegant, believe you me, it was. And so when you look at a Christmas tree, what do you see? How do you, if you're starting out in your home planning for Christmas, how are you cultivating what you want your Christmases in the future to look like based on what you're selecting to be your ornaments today? Do you see what I see? A star way up in the sky. Now, it doesn't mean that every time you put something on a Christmas tree you have to have a biblical verse to go with it. What I just said, do you see what I see, comes from a hymn. You can choose any hymn. If people come into your home and they say, oh, what a beautiful star, you can give them a few lines from a hymn, a Christmas carol. You don't have to shove a verse at them. You do it graciously. You plant a seed, right? The story of your tree. To me, the story of a tree is what that final tree looks like, and that's the cross. Now, you don't have to go that deep. You can start building it slowly and let your family understand. Of course, if your family are Christians and they truly celebrate the Christ of Christmas, the reason for the season, you may add all of those into your Christmas family traditions and build them along the way and allow your children to understand that. How sweet would that not be? The giving of gifts. What kind of gifts do you give? If you want to start cultivating something in your family life or your community and you cannot afford it, start with creating vouchers. I will do for you. And they can cash it in, whether it is, I'll come mow your lawn. I will help organize your kitchen pantry. I will babysit 5 times this coming year. And they can cash it in when they need to do it. Think of things like that. I will take your kids on a play date. 5 times we go for coffee, I'm paying. Little things like that you plan throughout. Be creative. Why are you doing that? Because you want to serve others, and it's just a way to do it if you are limited in what you can do and what you can give. Your Christmas ornaments. What do they say about your life? How do you put them on the tree? What reasons you have to put those particular things on the tree? It could be things your children have made, things you have made, your first Christmases together if you're married, or if you've been away somewhere. Let it be a history of your family life. And then you can share. Good and bad things need to be recorded in your family history that goes on your tree. And each one can be, as you hang it, a sweet memory of what God has done in your life through the good and bad. As I shared yesterday, what are those sweetnesses in His providences, the good, the bad, and the ugly ones in your life? Do you have a way of remembering? A Christmas tree, friends, is a perfect way to do it. Nutcrackers. Now, if you are particular, you'll say, well, they have no significance to Christmas. If you have them, as where I worked, we used to have 6-footers, and every year we would place them in a different, depending on what was going on around the property. If we were having lots of social engagements, they would be in like a main entry and then another entry to it. We would place them different places. So what were they there for? Sure, they looked good in the situation they were in. But for me and my friend, they signified the guarding of what was behind them, of the work we had done and the reason for the work we had done. So they were there almost like an angel, like the angels leading the shepherds, leading the wise men, almost like that. They were the angels guarding the story and the reality behind. Friends, make it your story, make it work for you. Now, if you have a little train set that runs around your home, runs around your living room or around the Christmas tree, in the early years when I worked for my employer, we used to have it right around the formal living room, around the floor. And it was problematic to set up. But as the kids got older, we chose not to put it out. But if you did have that, there's nothing wrong with setting it up. Go ahead. What does it signify for you? upbringing of your family together if they are traveling from different places. If you have a little airplane hanging on your tree or something, any little thing that you bring, this is where we traveled to this place and what we did while we were there. Have stories, friends, for everything you do, because it is a blessing. Now, on the top of your tree, if you have a star and you want people to reflect on the reason I said share a hymn. Now, if you wanted to go a little bit deeper, share the scripture. Matthew 2 verse 2, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. And then it goes in with Herod plotting and scheming to be rid of the Christ child. And then in Matthew 2 verses 9, after listening to the king, they went on their way, and behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them until it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then opening their treasures, they offered him myrrh, gold, and frankincense. And then they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod. They departed to their own country by another way. They were skillful in how they responded to that very first Christmas. Friends, what is the skill that you are applying in how you orchestrate your Christmas? It's not too late for you to make a few changes in the next few days, or you to think about it and plan for the next one. So until tomorrow, which will be day 220. Take care and God bless, and we will talk again. Bye-bye for now.